Greetings, brothers and sisters. Bunch of stuff to get to on both of my channels. I'm going to cover Madonna and the Poppers here, and Katy Perry talking about her glitch on my other channel. And so I don't know all the things I have to get to here, but I want to start with the war stuff because I didn't get to do this in my last video. I was going to cover this yesterday, but I didn't have enough time. And so let's start with this stuff. American troops prepare to engage in war with Russia.
Russia now falsely claims Ukraine is preparing to use a radiological dirty bomb on its own territory. NATO allies reject this transparently false allegation.
NATO says it's false.
Russia often accuses others for what they intend to do themselves.
America would never do that. America doesn't do stuff like that. So let's get that on the table. America doesn't accuse other countries of things they do themselves.
We have seen this pattern before, from Syria to Ukraine. Russia must not use false pretexts for further escalation. The world is watching closely.
The world is watching closely. U.S. aircraft carrier is prepared to lead an international charge should Russia escalate attacks against Ukraine and its allies. So, they are preparing for war. And, war means nuclear war, right? At some point, there would be nuclear weapons being used. Russia recruits U.S. trained troops left behind by Biden in Afghanistan. Russia appears to be eyeing the U.S. trained troops in Afghanistan to fight in Ukraine, according to reports. The hasty evacuation resulted in troops and equipment being left behind following the collapse of the Afghan government and a rapid takeover by the Taliban. It was $80 billion of equipment and then all the training and all the things that went into it, because it was a bogus war that was a complete failure. And then Jojo Magoo droned kids on the way out. Remember, he droned 8 kids, saying there was a new ISIS, or there was ISIS K or something. The housing market is crashing.
And that is why you're here, because, look, gas prices may be the billboard people see. Boy, things are getting more expensive. But when it comes to sort of feeling, what is your financial feeling on financial security? The biggest check you write every month is either for rent or a mortgage. And this is where you come in. You were sounding the alarm bell. You're fearing that the housing market is crashing.
It is crashing. And, what's really, it underscores is how it is. We've seen rapid rate hikes, not just rate hikes on mortgage rates. They've been rapid rate hikes.
Because they are trying to crash the housing market. That guy, Mad Money guy, who I have something to do on him, he had to apologize. I think I still have that up on my other toolbar. And we'll get to that. Kramer. Remember, I showed you a video where Kramer was pushing. He said no one should be buying stocks right now until we get the housing market to collapse. And so the reason is that people are putting their money into hard assets, which is land, is, the number one. And so because the inflationary aspect of what's going on and stock market and all these things are going to collapse, the dollar is going to be devalued. And so real estate people were moving out of big cities. I mean, there was all this real estate movement, which I'm aware of, right? And because of that, the Fed has been raising the interest rates to try to get people to stop buying homes, to make it impossible for them to stop buying homes, and then they can crash the dollar, they can crash the markets, and then people will have to sell their homes at a cheap rate. They'll buy up all the real estate, and it will go into this idea of you will own nothing and rent, right? You'll rent everything, which is what they've been pushing, right? This the World Economic Forum 2030 goals, on which it's been documented. I've read him here a number of times, and one of them was by 2030 you'll rent everything and love it. You won't own anything, and you'll be happy to rent everything. And so to do that, the housing market has to be taken down, and then people have to sell their houses at a discounted rate and then be moved to whatever, right? Like we're talking about, what is it now? 8 years from now. So in 8 years, what's going to happen that people are going to be happy to rent everything?
And that's even more destabilizing than just moving up rates. And I think it's something that...
Like, who is this school? And their name's Diana Swank. Like, where are they
rates. They've been rapid rate hikes, and that's even more destabilizing than just moving up rates. And I think it's something that the Fed has understated in their own views in terms of how rapidly it's taken a toll on the housing market. And what's interesting is we're seeing also some of the hottest markets in the country are now beginning to cool on prices despite still really constrained supplies. People aren't willing to sell out of those 3% mortgages that they locked into a year ago and put their houses on the market. And so we're not seeing the downward.
So we see this, right? So there's they're pushing for this. They're getting rid of the low interest loans so people won't buy houses, and that's going to make the prices go down. Which is, why would they do that, right? Well, obviously, because they have a plan. Like the housing market is a big part of our economy. And if your house is devalued, I mean, that's an investment that you have, right? If your house is devalued, it means you pay less taxes, state taxes, and things like this. I mean, in terms of, that's, affects the government, it affects your investment. And then what's safe? If the dollar's collapsing and the stock market's tanking, then where do you put your money, right? Where do you put your money so that, there's going to be no Social Security because it's, it's a defunct system. So where are you going to go? What are you going to do? Like, who's going to take care of you? Well, you live in these, these Agenda 30 houses. Terrifying video shows Chinese robot attack dog with machine gun dropped by drone. And so, one of my viewers sent me this. I meant to put this first before the housing, but it doesn't really matter. And so the Chinese have this technology apparently. There is there's a show called World of Worlds that's been on that has this as a part of their, these dogs with guns. So here it comes down. It's a little robot, folds up, neat little package, gets droned in, and then pops up. Here it's going to pop up here. See it. Boom, there it goes. Boom. It's got a bunch of stuff here, including a machine gun, and it is, it's hard to fight something like this when you're worried about getting shot, and it isn't, right? I mean, this thing is, made out of metal, and it's not, living, and so it can just be out there shooting and get into, whatever it is, right? Here it goes walking off. They don't show it shooting, but, apparently they have robot dogs that have machine guns on them, and they can drop them in, a town near you, in your town, with a drone. Peloton has indefinitely paused use of Ye's music in future classes. They've really canceled them, and like I said yesterday, this is what it took for him to get canceled, this particular attacks on a protected group. Madonna accused of doing poppers during TikTok live stream with Terry. So here's the video.
Anyways, what are you getting ready for? Where are you going? Is that poppers?
Never did that before.
She sounds weird. Her voice is, like just an odd, almost like a nerdy kid.
No!
See, she looks so ghoulish, right? I don't know what's going on with her. She's got the lips done and, all kinds of plastic surgery. Her skin's been pulled tight here. She's turned into such a ghoul.
Are you all right?
Madame Expiration date.
I'm a Christian. Whoa. Everything's different, right?
Well, you know what? I usually
Oh my-
sniff one of those.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so that's happened, and then there was this. This is the interview. Her hair's been fixed.
Absolutely, no question about it. What's up with the homosexuals after you all the time?
I have no clue. It's like they
That's
won't
weird.
leave me alone.
That maybe there's like some kind of love underneath that hatred.
I think it is too. You know what it
Sometimes
is?
it works out like that. People who
Sometimes it works out like that.
hate, like people who put so much passion into hating, are really in love.
Yeah. And that's what it is.
That's not what it is. Right? Hatred and love aren't opposites. People think they are, but they're not. And hatred is a separate thing. And there might be an attraction there. There might be some sort of, pull to somebody that comes out in a negative way, but it's not love, right? There might be some positive feelings that get warped. That's why people who leave comments and get banned, and there's the negative attraction, the methinks thou protest too much, right? Or when a kid throws a rock at a girl he likes or something, like some kind of things, or people insult people they have a crush on or something like that, right? But that's not love. There's an attraction that manifests itself in a negative way. We see it on the internet all the time. People say, "Oh, I'm going to unsubscribe," or they, it happens to me here, but all across the internet this happens. People say how much they dislike you, and yet they tune into your Instagram or your videos every day, or they search you every day, or somebody who's, an ex boyfriend or girlfriend or something, and you say how much you hate them, and you talk about them constantly. There's a negative, a negative attraction there, right? Where something that was once positive has now turned, but that doesn't come from a place of love, right? That's not a response that's been manifested out of love. Love turns into pain, right? When somebody breaks your heart, it's just painful. And then there's, the other things that, the overlay, the emotions that come in after that. But the pain is there from, having somebody betray your love or hurt your heart or whatever it is.
They want my Christian lifestyle so bad that they crave it. And so they come on here and they try to tear me down, but what they didn't know was trying to tear me down is just lifting me up even higher to God.
Yeah, underneath the curses are the blessings.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
but people don't.
My dress is a blessing too.
Yeah,
Now,
my jewelry is a blessing.
Yeah. Why don't you send me like,
it's riveting, this cover.
I don't know,
Jesus.
all of those? Send me that.
How come you don't? Do you have a little cross on your neck?
I do. You want to send me that one?
Sure. You want it?
She's going to give it to her.
Yeah. If you can send me that one in the mail, I can definitely send you my address for sure.
Okay. Text me
Yeah,
your address.
for sure. But yeah, I do have a cross. I've been having this cross
A
ever
couple of Christians having a conversation on the internet. What could be better?
since my daddy gave it to me. I was like 4 years old. Around that time, I had got baptized, and he told me it was silver to ward off the vampires. So.
Exactly. Got to ward off those vampires.
Why did you wait so long to get baptized?
Till I was 4. Well, actually, I was baptized
Usually
right after
babies
I
are
was born.
baptized. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like after my mom pushed me out of her vagina, she actually dipped me inside of that water real quick. But I had actually got the holy water into my lungs, so I actually was in the ICU until I was 4 years old. So that's when I got baptized again.
So basically, you've got holy water running through your veins.
Those glasses too in the mail too. That'll be fine.
Holy water. All right. I guess Madonna's like Madame Expiration date's like the new Statue of Liberty, because she represents America like holding on to its youth and its glory days, right? The apocalypse is upon us, and we refuse to acknowledge it. America refused to acknowledge its demise and getting old and, losing its relevance. And it's Madonna's leading the way. She's out ahead of the curve once again. Madame Xpiration date. Hunter Biden's flirty Chinese secretary who urged Uncle Joe to run is new GOP focus. First son, Hunter Biden's flirty former secretary, Jackie Bao, who pushed for Uncle Joe Biden to run for president, has been linked to the Chinese government as the focus of new House Republicans' inquiry in the first family's extensive overseas business dealings. So that happened. More news about Hunter. This was something I want to cover yesterday. I forgot. It's kind of funny.
Here's the thing. Who doesn't love a yellow school bus?
What?
Right? Can you raise your hand if you love a yellow school bus, right? Just, there's something about...
Nobody's digging her. Do you hear the reaction there? They're like,
Just, there's some... Love a yellow school bus, right? Just, there's something about the... And most of us, many of us went to school on the yellow school bus, right? And it's part of our experience growing up.
I don't know about you, but when I had to ride the bus, I mean, the whole school's like a prison, right? They're like locked facilities. It's like an airport now. Once you enter into the terminal, you're in a closed environment. You're like in a prison sort of situation. I mean, you're not, remanded there, but in school you are. You have to go. They look for you if you don't go. I mean, you can be homeschooled, but your parents have to do something to make sure, they want your kids in school, right? You have to do something to get your kids out of school. Your kids miss too much time, and there's, you have to serve another year, right? Another year of prison, they hold you back. And it's, the prisons and schools look quite a bit alike. And when you're riding those buses, the bus ride, getting up early in the morning and, you see that bus coming, you're like, But Kamala loved it.
It's part of, a nostalgia and a memory of the excitement and joy of going to school, to be with your favorite teacher, to be with your
Nobody has that.
Best friends, and to learn.
Yeah. I didn't. Not many of us had that kind of experience or attitude there, Kamala. Biden questions Putin's claim Russia won't use nuclear weapons in the Ukraine, criticizes dangerous rhetoric, and Biden said, why does he keep on talking about it? Well, why do you keep on talking about Russia as being the demon of all demons, right? Russia's war. I saw Biden's press secretary was talking about Saudi Arabia and how they didn't have a deal. Biden went over there or something like this. And she said, well, that's not our main focus. We're trying to just stabilize everything after Putin's war, this whole thing. Chief Twit era, Musk ousts Twitter execs in $44 billion closing bid. Elon Musk fires top Twitter executives as $45 billion takeover closes. The billionaires vow not to turn the social media giant into a free-for-all hellscape. Well, I mean, what is it now, right? It just one-sided free-for-all hellscape. And so he's apparently reinstating Donald J. Trump's account. And he fired all the top executives at the company.
CNBC billionaire Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, has taken control of Twitter, according to CNBC, which is citing unnamed sources. The deal puts him at the helm of one of the leading global social media platforms. The Tesla CEO and founder of SpaceX completing the reported $44 billion deal on the eve of a court-appointed deadline to...
This reporter, the news is so hard to listen to. They're not like real people. They just, they're so inauthentic.
Finish his on-again, off-again bid to purchase the company. One of his first moves, CNBC reports, ousting top executives, including CEO Parag Agrawal, then tweeting late Thursday, "The bird is freed," an apparent reference to the Twitter logo and to the completion of the deal, changing his own Twitter handle to Chief Twit.
Chief Twit.
In a hint that a deal was imminent, Musk posting this video of himself Wednesday walking into Twitter's San Francisco office carrying a porcelain sink as he entered the glass doors. Tweeting, entering Twitter headquarters. Let that sink in. The
Boom. Really bad puns.
Silicon Valley titan trying to placate Twitter advertisers, saying he's buying the platform to help humanity and doesn't want it to become a free-for-all hellscape where anything can be said with no consequences. This comes after a long back-and-forth battle. Back in April, Musk agreed to buy Twitter for that whopping $44 billion.
That whopping $44 billion, right? Imagine, like, I should perfect this persona and just have conversations with people. And then Elon Musk, it's like it's not how people communicate. I mean, this is why people have just turned off the news. It's so inauthentic.
Well, I think it's very important for there to be an inclusive arena for free speech.
Then began backpedaling out of the deal, alleging that the company failed to adequately disclose the number of spam and fake accounts on the service. Now final, this Twitter takeover, leaving many to speculate whether Musk could remove lifetime bans, including bringing back former President Trump, who was permanently banned from the site after the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Though Trump has said in the past that he would probably not return if his account
he will. He loves Twitter.
Was reinstated.
There are many questions that remain about the future.
So many unanswered questions. But apparently, next month, Musk said he would reverse Donald Trump's permanent ban from the platform. The former president had earlier said he would not return and would instead remain on his Truth social network. Whatever. Somehow I deleted this. I had to find it again. Kramer chokes up as he apologized for pushing Meta stock. I screwed up. The Metaverse is a disaster.
I made a mistake here. I was wrong. I trusted this management team. That was ill-advised. Hubris here is extraordinary. And I apologize. What did I get wrong? I trusted them, not myself. For that I regret.
He regrets it.
I've been in this business for 40 years, and I did a bad job.
Boom. The Metaverse. In June, he told the CNBC audience to buy Meta stock, gushing over CEO Mark Zuckerberg and the Metaverse. Meta. One hacker way.
This is so much better than Zoom. You have very personal. I mean, at one point, I'm talking to Mark.
You know you look ridiculous.
In my outtakes.
Share of Facebook's parent company, Meta company, have since tumbled to the lowest level in 6 years. Boom. The stocks tumbled. So that happened. But Kramer, like I said, he was pushing for the collapse of the housing market. He said he was simply unstoppable. In June, Kramer told CNBC viewers that they ought to buy Meta stock because its CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, was simply unstoppable. Kramer touted the future of Metaverse, which is a cool place to go. One of my viewers said that it's just like people just walking around bumping into stuff in the Metaverse. They all have their own theme music, so there's all this noise, like all these people who are in the room with you. I mean, I guess, I'm not sure. I've never been there. I don't have VR technology. So, but he said that that people all have their own music. It's usually rap or something like that. And so you're hearing multiple songs as people walk around with their music and, whatever it is. And then I showed this one app or this one, I don't know what it was, part of the Metaverse that was put in by some company. And they had only like 30 users and they had a $1 billion market share. And only 30 people were using it like at a time or whatever. So yeah, it's a disaster. More and more I make these videos, and by the time I'm editing them and I'm getting to the end of them, I gather the raw footage, and there's mistakes and long pauses, and sometimes I'm doing research, so I have to edit all that stuff out. Sometimes I'm coughing, things like that. And then of course I add things, new ideas come to me. So there's the gathering of information, and then there's putting it in the final copy. And more when I'm editing it, of course, I'm doing 2 different videos now. It's probably usually around an hour and a half of content, sometimes more, if I do a journey series a day, right? And, by the end of this video, I couldn't remember what I covered. Like, it's so vast, and it's just so many new things. And, it was like World War III, and then Madame Xpiration date. I just went back and looked at it. And then the stuff with Elon Musk, and then all these other stories in between, the housing market collapsing. And it's just a lot of stuff. And because of that, like every day and then I have all the stuff on my Hollywood celebrities dropping like flies, and just, the apocalypse. And with all of that, right, doesn't it seem like if there was a chance for World War III, it would happen now? Like, it's so much worse than when I was a kid, during the Reagan years, during the Carter and, the Iran-Contra and the Cold War and things like this. Like, back then, there was not nearly as much going on. The age of the internet and just the depravity and just the social collapse and, the whole system, the debt-based economy. I saw like in my YouTube feed, there was a video from Hunter, not Hunter, from Tucker Carlson, and the headline was, "Are we running out of diesel fuel?" I need diesel fuel for my tractor. I don't use it that much. But it's like $5 now, almost $6 a gallon, $5.60, and it's been like that for a long time. It went down for a little while, but they probably aren't converting as much fuel because there's not enough oil. That's what's going on here. And Biden was in Saudi Arabia, and so they're trying to placate everybody with the gas prices, so they're trying to produce more supply, but that means that the refineries aren't running and making diesel fuel, and that means no shipping. So that's the prices going up because of the expense for the trucks that the trucks that drive the container trucks that drive all your goods to your local grocery store and Walmart and all those things. And so and I don't know, I didn't watch the video, but just the headline alone I know is the possibility. And so with all these things, and then Biden and Putin are talking about nuclear war and World War III, well, it's ripe for that, right? People are so angry. There's so much hatred in the world. People are just, just filled with hatred and negativity. And, what's happened in my Sahaj Marg Heartfulness organization, like, is a, really bad time because of what's going on with the scam and the Brighter Mind scam and all the things I'm talking about with the Journey series. So, like, even things like that, everything's contaminated. People are just, beside themselves. Nobody's happy. Nobody's grateful. People disconnected from God. And then the immoral sort of demonic stuff, and then the economy collapsing. It's all of it, right? And so it makes sense. Like, nuclear war makes sense. It's like, the outcome. It's like a cancer, right? It's like you're using all kinds of, or eating all kinds of carcinogens, and you have poor health and drug use and stress and, all the things that lead to cancer, right? That's what, like, we have all the things that lead to nuclear war and the destruction of a civilization, right? Anyways, just thought I'd cheer everybody up. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely important for the apocalypse and the ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.